Alright, hey YouTube, how you doing? It's Max. In this video, I'm going to be talking about this kind of new content that I have for the game. It's going to be these like rune altars. There are rune altars in like RuneScape, and I think in RuneScape it's pretty much you get this it's centered around rune crafting, and I think this isn't really going to be centered around rune crafting at all. Uh, as of right now, rune crafting is when you get rune essence through mining or other means, and you kind of imbue it at an altar to get a certain type of rune. In this one, I'm thinking about just having a certain type of creature that drops certain types of runes. Also in RuneScape, I don't think they have like ice runes or electric runes, dark runes or light runes, but they do have the four elementals: water, air. In this case, it's wind, fire, and earth. So there are a little bit of differences. But the concept is pretty similar. Um, Essentially, I made 8 altars around the map. If I pull up a picture of the map, where's my photos? If I pull up a picture of the map, you can kind of see this is what the map looks like. I kind of recreated it a little bit. It's not like a 1 to 2 ratio, but it's just kind of like a similar design in shape. And this is kind of like marking where each of the altars are. And so by eventually, when you start unlocking all the altars, you can transport to this plane, and it's kind of like a pseudo teleport. It's not really like a good teleport that I think you could use all the time, because there's going to be monsters on this plane and monsters in the altars, but just different ways to, I guess, get around from place to place. So I've got, these are just the placeholders. They're very small looking maps at the moment. Wind, water, they look very similar, the wind and water. And then you got the earth, the fire, the ice, the electric, the dark, and the light. And pretty much when you enter in one of these altars, you will find different spirits. So similar in the tutorial where you had to collect, um, one, I think it was wind rune, one water rune, one earth rune, and one fire rune to get to complete the tutorial. This is a similar case, but instead of it being one, you have to collect 100, and it is kind of a steep, you know, grind if you were going to grind all 100 in the altar. You could just go to a shop and buy them all, and then unlock the altar that way. At the current moment, I don't know if I'm going to keep that, but just I think there might be a need for some sort of grinding components to unlock things in this game eventually. Not nothing too crazy, I don't think, but I think that grinding for 100 runes is something that you could probably do in an hour, and I think that's kind of reasonable. So might be like 8 hours worth of content. I don't really know. Might be kind of boring content, but that's just to start. So when you would attack these things, they're really easy to kill, so the grind shouldn't be too long, and they guarantee drop 1 rune every time now, instead of it being a 50% chance. There's also a 1% chance. So as you're killing 100 of these, in theory, there's a 100% or a 1% chance that you'll get a staff drop. So a staff of air, a staff of, or I guess it's a staff of wind, staff of water, etc., all the way through light and dark. And this staff will give you elemental attacks, I guess, added to your character. So if you would have to be like some sort of mage, I think it is the class, to wield it, but you would have access to that type of attack. So if you were to kill all these things 100, you can unlock the altar. If you want to see the code of this, pretty much. What I have is that there's a variable that checks for the amount of runes of a certain type in your inventory. And then so for this case, variable 41 will check the amount of win runes in your inventory, and then it will change variable 41 to that amount. And then if the win runes variable is at 100, so if you have 100 win runes in your inventory, then it will prompt you if you want to donate the 100 wind runes to the wind altar. If you say yes, you'll donate those. A little animation will come up, and then you'll turn the switch on, which will unlock this altar. If you don't, then it will kind of tell you how many runes you have in your inventory, and how many you need. So you'll have this amount when you need 100 wind runes, if that makes sense. Once you have this opened, it will ask you if you want to teleport to the elemental plane. You can say yes and teleport, or you can say no and stay here. I'm thinking about also making these altars have the ability to change um, the character's typing in the party, which I think will be a good reward. If so, like if you wanted to have like someone be dark type, because some of the content might require you to have optimal typing advantage, kind of like in Pokemon, where you would have to have like, if you're going against a fire gym, you might want to have water Pokemon to do that. What I kind of am thinking in this game is that all the characters kind of start off as neutral, and you can really just shape them into whatever you want them to be. So if you want a dark typing character with magic, you can go into the dark altar, complete this little, I guess, side quest of getting the 100 runes, unlocking the altar, and then talking to the altar, and it will um, change the character in your party slot one's type to dark. I think is how I would eventually do it. So I think I'm gonna probably incorporate something like that, especially when I start focusing on typing advantages. I have like this little like school thing where they quiz you on typings, but I haven't really programmed that officially yet. So that will probably be something I do in the near future, just to kind of get that typings and elements thing all squared away. But once you kind of teleport to the crystal plane, you'll come to one of these 8 altars. So you can see fire, ice, wind, light, um, dark, water, electric, and earth. And I'll probably add eventually some stuff in between all this. But yeah, so if you were to, for example, unlock the fire altar, you could, and if you unlock the ice altar, you could go from the fire altar to the ice altar, teleport to that location where the ice altar is. Um, so I think some of the places here are they aren't very well designed at the moment. I just have these little like shack buildings. So if you walk into this shack building, this is where the wind altar is. If you walk into this shack building, this is where the fire altar is, et cetera, et cetera. So they're kind of scattered throughout. So kind of one of those things where while you're lighting the braziers, you might come across these, and I think that's kind of like how I want this game to eventually be. You just kind of run into something, and it kind of piques your interest, and you check it out, and then while you're doing something that requires you to walk around the map, you find another thing that might pique your interest, and you check it out, and it just becomes this kind of like uh, avalanche of content that you have to, I guess, it will like pique your interest, I guess is all I'm trying to say. So that's kind of what all that is. I think there was also another thing I wanted to talk about with like these magic schools. So I kind of want it to where I also want to get a nature ultra sometime in here. Um, I'm not really sure. I have 9 settlements, um, but I only have 8 altars, so I think I need one more. So I might do like, maybe either make one more settlement, even though I have Salem and Port Pawnee. I don't know if those are like full settlements. I think they're like half settlements. So I don't know exactly how I want to do it, but maybe I'll just make like a nature altar, even though these look very similar to nature altars. Not really sure what I want to do there yet. Still kind of processing that. But anyways, what I was originally talking about was like these schools. At the beginning of this kind of journey, I was talking about this dynamic of the schools versus the church or something. And so I think like, and it was kind of similar to Pokemon where you collect the 8 badges from the schools. And so I was thinking about incorporating something where you have to go to each school to either get a key to unlock certain altars. So something either to do before just like stumbling upon it, it might tell you to get a key or something, or have the professor in some way be related to the typing of a certain altar. So maybe it's going to act as like a gym where you have to go through the professor's little dungeon, and or maybe I'll expand upon each of these so that there is like a dungeon behind each altar, and you have to kind of complete each dungeon as well and bring back a certain artifact for the professor. Maybe it will be a staff of whatever it is, but that's just kind of the just playing around with some ideas, but just kind of wanted to showcase this just to kind of document the journey that we're working on, the typings, the elements, the altars. I call them temples, I guess, in this one, or I guess I call these temples, but then it's the altar. I don't know. Anyways, that's the video. Have a good one. I'll see you later. Bye.